Hello children. So today we are going to learn about the second chapter of biology, that is microorganisms, friend and foe. So far we have learnt of living organisms, that is plant and animals. Apart from plants and animals, there are other living organisms which we cannot see through our naked eyes, as they are very small. These are called the microorganisms or microbes. They can be seen only by using a microscope. Now, let us look at the different categories of microorganisms. They are classified as bacteria, fungi, protozoa, some algae and virus. Of these, fungi and algae can be seen using a magnifying lens, whereas bacteria and protozoa can be seen using a microscope. Coming to viruses, they can be seen only by using an electron microscope, as these are the smallest of all the microorganisms. Let us see some common diseases spread by these microbes, like bacteria. Bacteria causes diseases like typhoid, tuberculosis, etc. They spread by air, water or insects. Coming to fungi. Fungi mostly causes skin diseases. Protozoa. Protozoa causes diseases like malaria, dysentery, elephantiasis, etc. Viruses. Viruses cause chickenpox, polio, common flu and many other diseases. Mostly viruses are inactive outside the host cell. As soon as they enter into a living cell, that is either a plant body or an animal body or a bacterial body, it becomes active and starts multiplying in number, and they produce large number of organisms and cause the disease. Now let us see where do we find these microorganisms. Microorganisms are omnipresent. That means they are present everywhere, that is in the air, water, food, human body, plant, animal body and also in extreme climatic conditions, that is very hot or very cold climate. They are also present in our body, which also takes part in digestion of food. Microorganisms are basically single celled, except a few algae and fungi which are multicellular in nature. Mostly microorganisms live alone, that is individually, like in amoeba. But sometimes they also live in groups and colonies, like in fungi and yeast. By this we can say that certain microorganisms live inside the host cell or outside and can even survive in extreme climatic conditions. Now let us see microorganisms and their relation with us. Now depending upon whether they cause a disease or they are harmful to us or helpful to us in any way, microorganisms are classified as harmful or beneficial microorganisms. Let's learn about the friendly microorganisms which help us commercially. Now do we know about the microorganisms which take part in our kitchen? So let's see the helpful microorganisms we use in our day-to-day activities. It is used in making curd. For making curd, we actually add a little curd or starter to warm milk. The bacteria present in the curd multiplies and converts this milk into curd. This bacteria is lactobacillus. Now, not only curd but even in idli and dosa batter, yeast is used to ferment the batter and make it sour. Yeast is also used in making bread, cakes, which makes it fluffy. Not only that, they are also helpful in kitchen. They also help in cleaning the environment by decomposing the dead plants and animals. In this way, they add humus to the soil and increase the soil fertility. In their absence, the whole planet would get filled by the dead remains of plants and animals. There are some general uses of microorganisms. Now, let us learn about them. The commercial use of microorganisms. The commercial use of microorganisms means some products which are made in large scale to get economical value or profit. Microorganisms are used in the production of alcohol, wine and acetic acid, that is vinegar. Alcohol and wine are prepared by adding yeast to fruit juices or barley juice or rice or wheat, etc. These microorganisms convert the simple sugars present in these into alcohol, that too in the absence of oxygen, and the entire process is known as fermentation. Microorganisms are also used in making medicines to either stop or to kill the disease causing microbes. Such medicines are called as antibiotics. So, antibiotics are medicines which are derived from specially fungi and bacteria to treat a person suffering from a disease. They are either given as tablets or injections. A scientist named Alexander Fleming came up with an antibiotic called penicillin from a fungus called Penicillium notatum. This antibiotic penicillin is used in preventing many diseases caused by bacteria. Likewise, there are also other antibiotics like streptomycin, erythromycin, tetracycline, which are also made from the components of which are extracted from fungi and bacteria, and they are used to cure many infectious diseases both in humans, in plants and animals as well. Now, let us learn about another way of using the microorganisms to control a disease, and that is vaccine. Vaccine is a medicine which is used as a prevention from disease. This means it is usually given before a person comes in contact with the disease. So, how does this work? Basically, germs may enter a body through air, water or food. So, whenever any foreign particle or a germ enters a body, the body starts producing antibodies to fight with the antigen. Antigen is nothing but the foreign particle or the germ, and make antigens inactive. This is how our body is protected by a natural immune system. So, during vaccination, weak or dead germs of a particular disease, say chicken pox, is injected into the body. The body will start producing antibodies for the chicken pox antigen and will defeat them or make them inactive, and the person do not fall sick. Next time, naturally, when the chickenpox antigen enters the body, it immediately identifies the antigen and makes it inactive. This is how vaccine helps in preventing many diseases by building up our natural immune system. So, it is very important that we vaccinate our children at the right time to prevent them from diseases like cholera, tuberculosis, chicken pox, polio, hepatitis, mumps, measles, etc. Edward Jenner was the first scientist who discovered vaccine for smallpox. Now, let us learn the next use of microorganisms where it increases soil fertility. Microorganisms like blue-green algae, also called as cyanobacteria. These bacteria convert nitrogen present in the air into simple forms of nitrates and nitrites, because plants cannot take nitrogen present in the complex form. And so these cyanobacteria help in breaking the complex nitrogen into simpler forms of nitrogen. so that plants can utilize it while growing, and in this way it also increases the soil fertility. They also decompose the dead and decaying matter of plants and animals. Not only that, all the organic waste, that is leftover food, vegetable peels, fruit peels, gets decomposed by microorganisms. Hence, it also helps in cleaning our environment. So, these are a few ways where microorganisms are helpful to us. Now, we are going to learn about the harmful microorganisms. Some microorganisms causes diseases in plants, animals, including human, and these microorganisms which cause diseases are called pathogens. So let us learn about the pathogens which cause diseases in human. These pathogens, they enter our body either through the air, water, food, or even direct contact with the infected person. Such diseases are called communicable or infectious diseases like the common cold, tuberculosis, chickenpox, etc. Sometimes insects and animals are also responsible for carrying a disease. It means that if you take mosquito as an example, a mosquito only acts like a carrier. The pathogen from it only carries the pathogen from an infected person's blood to a healthy person. The mosquito is not at all affected by the pathogen. So, they are called as carriers or vectors of a disease. Even housefly is an example of carrier. Some diseases spread by mosquitoes are malaria and dengue, whereas housefly carry diseases causing microorganisms like cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, etc. So, we need to control the carriers, like the breeding place of the mosquitoes and housefly should be destroyed to control the disease. Now, let us see some disease causing microorganisms in animals as well. Like in cattle, foot and mouth disease is caused by bacteria. Similarly, many diseases are caused in fishes, poultry, etc. These diseases are controlled by using antibiotics or vaccines. Now, we will learn about plant diseases. Diseases like citrus canker in citrus fruits is caused by bacteria. Rust of wheat in wheat is caused by fungus, etc. So, by this we can say that microorganisms cause diseases in human beings, animals and plants as well. The next topic is food poisoning. When food is left in the open without proper preservation, microorganisms may start growing in them, making the food poisonous. When such contaminated or spoiled food is consumed, it causes food poisoning, which may also sometimes lead to the death of the person. So, it is better that we consume only fresh food, and the extra food should be preserved properly to prevent the spoilage. So, let us learn the different methods of food preservation. They are the chemical method, that is using salt, sugar, oil or vinegar, heat and cold treatment, and lastly the storage and packing of them. So, firstly in chemical method, certain preservatives are used to check the growth of microbes. Preservatives like sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite are used in jams and squashes and also in pickles. Secondly, common salt is used in large quantity in preserving mango, meat and fish for a long time. Next, we also use thick sugar syrup to preserve the jam, jelly, squash and many sweet dishes. Next is usage of oil and vinegar. Mostly vinegar and oil are used for preserving pickles. And now let us learn about the heat and cold treatment. Generally, we refrigerate in low temperatures the extra food we have at home, but on a large scale, perishable goods, that is fruits and vegetables which get spoiled very soon after harvesting, are stored in cold storage units before marketing. Not only fruits and vegetables, meat and fish are also stored in cold storage. Certain food are preserved by giving heat treatment like in milk. So, in this, milk is boiled at a temperature of 70 degrees centigrade for about 13 to 30 seconds and then immediately cooled and stored. This process is called as pasteurization. Next comes storing and packing. In the field of packing, technology has improved tremendously. Nowadays, food is packed in vacuum, that is, in vacuum packing, as there is no air inside, the growth of microorganisms is stopped. So, by this technique, food can be stored for a longer time. One such example is the Tetra packs of milk. So, this is how the pasteurization process is being done. So, these are some methods by which food either cooked or raw is stored for a longer time without being spoiled. So, it is better that we consume fresh food. This is how the Tetra pack of milk looks like. Next topic is nitrogen fixation. So, let us see the role of microbes in nitrogen fixation. Plants require proteins for their growth, and this protein they make when they get nitrogen, and this nitrogen they get it from the soil. As plants use the nitrogen from the soil, it gets deplenished, that is, the amount of nitrogen present in the soil gets used up and is reduced. The adding back of nitrogen back to the soil, that is, its replenishment, is done by the nitrogen cycle. We have learnt in our grade 7 that leguminous plants have root nodules. Rhizobium bacteria living on these root nodules fix the atmospheric nitrogen present in the soil to supply to the plants. Air contains 78% of nitrogen, but this nitrogen cannot be taken up by the plants directly. This is done by two methods. One is lightning. During lightning, nitrogen present in the atmosphere is fixed and added to the soil. And the other one is nitrogen fixing bacteria or the blue-green algae. They fix the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds, which the plants can readily use. Plants use this simple form of nitrogen to make proteins. These plants are consumed by the animals. When these animals and plants die, the nitrogen present in their bodies gets mixed with the soil, which are then decomposed by the bacteria and release the nitrogen gas into the atmosphere, thereby maintaining the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere, that is, the 78% of nitrogen in the atmosphere. This is called the nitrogen cycle. So, we conclude by saying that microorganisms are both beneficial and harmful to living organisms. Thank you.